It's the other Dark VMAX from Darkness Ablaze. Welcome back, everyone, to more from the Sableyes. I'm Mitch, and today we're going to take a look at the second Dark VMAX from Darkness Ablaze. Everyone's talking about all of these other Dark V and VMAX Pokemon, but Grimmsnarl VMAX is also in the set. Came from one of those battle decks from Japan, the same one that Charizard VMAX came from. So we thought we'd take a look at this deck in action. It's got a pretty cool attack, and there are some decent support Pokemon that we can throw around it. So why not jump across to PTCGO and take a look at the list. So these are the 60 cards that we are featuring in the list today. Obviously, Grimmsnarl VMAX is the figurehead, has 330 HP as a Dark type Pokemon, only one attack for 3 Darkness. G-Max Drill does 170 damage, then does an extra 50 for each Dark Energy on top of the 3 that you already have attached, up to a maximum of a bonus 100 extra damage. That means that if we have 5 energy attached to this particular Pokemon, we can do 270 damage. A really good number to be hitting in a tag team based format, but obviously it is going to be quite difficult to get one-shots on other VMAX Pokemon. So we're not going to be using this one as it's a lone attacker, but it's definitely strong enough to feature in a list on its own. Now the question is, how are we going to accelerate our Dark Energy to this Grimmsnarl? Well, I don't know if you noticed or not when you went for your pre-release for Darkness Ablaze, but Hydreigon is a perfect solution to this problem. Has the ability Dark Squall, which means we can attach as many Darkness Energies from our hand as we like to any of our Pokemon in play. As long as we've got access to energies, we should be able to attach them. It's got Pitch Black Fangs for 130, but as a Stage 2 support Pokemon, we're not expecting it to attack. We just want to get as many energy as possible onto our Grimmsnarl VMAX. Now, we've got a 3-2 line of the Grimmsnarl here. We are playing Ordinary Rod, so we can always get them back if we need to. Grimmsnarl is actually a decent attacker on its own in this list, which is part of the reason why we haven't got a full 3-3 or even 4-3 line of the VMAX. Bite 1 energy for 40. It's not amazing, but the second attack for 3 Darkness Energies does 200, and then we put those Dark Energies back into our hand. So that could potentially be a way to solve the problem of taking knockouts on VMAXs. Obviously, it is going to be an issue, though, that Grimmsnarl only has 220 HP, so be careful of that. The Spiking Knuckle is obviously really, really good because it can get that energy back into your hand so you can attach it elsewhere with your Hydreigon. We've got a 4-3 line of that, and one of the places that you might consider attaching to is this Darkrai. The Darkness Guard Darkrai from Darkness Ablaze has 120 HP as a basic Pokemon, and the attack Vortex of Darkness does 60 base for 3 colors, and then 20 more for each Dark Energy that is attached to that Pokemon. So in all, when we've got 3 Dark Energies attached, which we can easily do with Hydreigon, we're going to be doing a base 120 damage, and for every other Dark Energy on top, we can get a little bit more damage out onto the field of play. It's not perfect, but it's a really, really strong secondary attacker. It also has a cool ability when we have Dark Energy attached. It takes 20 less damage after weakness and resistance, which means that it effectively has 140 HP as a basic, which is a solid number to have. We've seen it in a couple of Dark decks already. We also have the Assault Gate Hoopa from Darkness Ablaze. Pretty much all of the Pokemon in this deck from Darkness Ablaze, actually, now that I'm looking back at it. Assault Gate, 1 Dark Energy, does 90 damage, but only if this Pokemon is moved from the bench to the active this turn. If it hasn't done that, then the attack does nothing. So we need to switch that one in and out. We've got a couple of decent non-V attackers that can help us out down the line. We also have some support Pokemon. Obviously, Crobat V from Darkness Ablaze is seeing a lot of play, as is the classic Dedenne-GX. It could be worth swapping the counts of this one around to 1 Dedenne and 2 Crobat, because you do have a Stage 2. You want to make sure that you can hold your hand if you've got things like Rare Candy or something like that in there. But at the moment, I'm feeling like this Pokemon line is relatively good, nice, and acceptable. Best thing about this Pokemon line is that there's 17 Pokemon, which opens up our kind of deck to use Pokemon communication to search for our Stage 1s and 2s, our VMAXs and our Hydreigons. We also have 4 Quick Ball as well, so that we can get our basics into play quickly. I mentioned, obviously, it's a stage 2 deck, so we're going to be playing a 4 count of Rare Candy as well. When it comes to energy, we've got a couple of ways to find it. We've got Viridian Forest, which can search for it from the deck. We need to have it in our hand so that we can use Hydreigon's ability, and Viridian's going to give us 1 free energy every turn. And we've also got 2 copies of Energy Retrieval, so if we have discarded energy already, we can play this item, get 2 energy back, and accelerate those energies straight away, which is a pretty solid strategy. Worst case scenario, I've already mentioned, Ordinary Rod doesn't just get Pokemon back, we can find those energies as well, shuffle them back into the deck, and then Viridian can search them out. Last item card, we've got 4 copies of Switch, obviously required to get in and out of the active. We need Hoopa to be able to move so that it can do its attack. It's not necessarily going to be attacking as frequently as we would like, because there's no other real ways to maneuver in this deck at the moment, apart from 2 copies of Hiding Energy. So we could potentially use that and retreat into a Hoopa, but we need to have had that attached beforehand. It is important to note, though, that that does retreat every Pokemon in the deck apart from Dedenne. And then obviously the Force Switch can get things like Deino or Darkrai out of the active in order for you to attack with your Grimmsnarl. Onto the supporter line, it's a classic 4-3-2-1. I've started to put this into pretty much every deck at the moment. It's 4 Research, 3 Marnie, 2 copies of Boss's Orders, and 1 copy of Erika's Hospitality. Like I said in the last video, definitely worth considering this card at the moment, considering Eternatus VMAX is a very popular archetype. We have 10 Dark Energies in this deck, as well as 2 Hiding Dark, so we should not have any problems getting energies attached. We need to obviously have 5 on Grimmsnarl, we need to have as many as possible on Darkrai, so we want to have a lot of access, and we certainly have that in 1/6 of our deck being basic energy. We can search for it, we can grab it back. It's going to be relatively easy to get that into the hand. The question is, can we get the Hydreigon in play in order to accelerate that energy? It's a stage 2 required deck, so it's going to take a little bit of an effort to get it set up, but when it does get set up, you're going to be able to do a lot with it. What I'll do is I'll take it into some gameplay now and show you exactly how this deck is supposed to work. So some gameplay now for Grimmsnarl, again going up against Matt on the other side of the field. I've stopped playing so many games on the ladder recently, just because sometimes it takes a very long time to find a matchup that's actually worth featuring. So hopefully you don't mind me playing against people that I know. We've got an okay start here, actually. We've got Grimmsnarl, we've got Hydreigon, Rare Candy, and Quick Ball here. So the question is, do we want to sit safe, or do we want to try and be a little bit riskier? What we'll do is we'll attach and then Quick Ball. I'm thinking we Quick Ball away Viridian Forest to grab a Deino. What we could do is we could use Pokecom to get rid of the Hydreigon to grab ourselves Crobat, which I actually don't mind. As long as we find ourselves an extra Pokemon search card, we should be able to evolve the Deino next turn, and it also gives us a chance to find another supporter, but wouldn't you know it, we didn't manage to get any of those cards. And on the other side of the field, it looks like Matt is going to be playing a Houndoom based deck. If you are interested in seeing this deck, the Houndoom deck, in the future, then leave a like on the video if you haven't already. This is one that I have got in the bank, so if you want to see it soon, then give it a like. We get let's do a YouTube thing. If we get, let's say, 60 likes, if we get 60 likes on this video, is that a reasonable target? I don't even know. If we get 60 likes, then we'll feature Houndoom next. How does that sound? That sounds like a fun time. He's got a Cinderace in the active, 2 Houndooms on the bench, and a Dedenne, so be able to go through and get a fresh set of cards here. I wonder why he didn't play down the Giant Half. Perhaps has a better stadium. Probably Spikemuth, right? Because Houndoom relies on fighting Pokemon having fire Pokemon, sorry, having damage counters on them already. So the Cinderace gets free retreat from the stadium. Okay, it's all making sense to me now. This is not good. We've top decked a Research, which is fantastic, but the fact that we are going to need to burn away 2 energy and a recovery card is not good. But we do have, if we want it, the Hydreigon. We're going to be able to attack with Spiky Knuckle here, but that's only going to do 200 damage. It's a bit disappointing, but that's okay. As long as Matt misses his attack next turn, we should be alright. I think he's only going to be able to do 200 as well, because I think that's what Houndoom does. I've got some Darkness Energy in hand, so we'll throw all of those onto the active. And then Spiky Knuckle, that will give us 2 Dark Energies back into our hand. I'm 90% sure that I said Fighting Energy at some point there. We'll take 2 Energy back into our hand. Probably should have taken the the Hiding Dark Energy in retrospect there. I only just noticed as I was clicking the done button that I could take it back, and that probably would have been more useful, but it's okay. We've got Research and 4 Darkness Energies. Now I'm second guessing everything that I say. 4 Darkness Energies to attach to our next Pokemon. So if the Grimmsnarl doesn't get knocked out, we have ourselves a chance to actually get a full 5 energy on the active as long as we find the VMAX, which is going to be fantastic. Here comes the switch now, and Houndoom just coming in with a Searing Flame. This Houndoom deck is not doing itself any favors when it comes to getting that like total up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've just top decked another Dark Energy. What we can do here is we can kind of spread these around a little bit. We'll put 3 onto the... we'll put 2 onto the active at least. We should probably put them all on the active, because that way we are going to give ourselves the opportunity to deal ourselves a big knockout if we find the VMAX, which we do, and we have an energy and an energy retrieval, so we can actually power up a second Grimmsnarl as well while we're at it. There's 2 Dark Energies in the discard pile already, so we can grab those, we can Dark Squall those energies onto the benched Grimmsnarl VMAX. And like I said in the deck profile portion of this video, once you do get yourself set up, it's actually really easy to deal a lot of damage here. Obviously very lucky that we didn't have our Grimmsnarl knocked out last turn, but even if we did, we would have been able to do 270, so cannot complain about that. We've got Boss's Orders in hand, we've got a Dedenne in hand, plus 2 powered VMAXs. This looks like this game could very easily turn into a whitewash. The best thing for me as well is that Matt cannot play down Spikemuth to use Cinderace's free retreat, because if he does, he'll actually take a knockout on himself anyway. So here comes the switch, just chucking up a fresh Houndoom now. So this game is well and truly over. We are going to be able to boss out that Houndoom with the fire energy on it, just to make it that little bit harder for Matt to deal with our situation. We've got 2 powered attackers. There's almost nothing that Matt can do unless he pulls out a really, really surprising play. We should be able to go on to win this one. And it's especially good for us because there's not even a basic non-GX, non-V Pokemon that Matt has on the field at the moment. So it is going to be really tough for him to stop these extra knockouts from happening. Another switch. It looks like Matt has unfortunately bricked at the end of this game. And yes, there's a Searing Flame. So we're going to be able to take the W here. We'll be able to use G-Max Drill to take another 2 prizes, which is obviously very, very good. And you just saw how quickly, with Hydreigon on the field, we were able to get to that big 270 number. Now, it's just the key is finding those rare candies. So let's play another one. Now we managed to get the win against Houndoom. We'll see what Matt is bringing this time. It could potentially be like a big VMAX deck, but we have seen Matt bring Mad Party a couple of times recently. That might potentially be an option as well. It'll be interesting to see if Grimmsnarl can manage that particular deck. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed, because Grimmsnarl V has that attack for 40 damage, which is going to take a knockout on a Bunnelby and also a Poltergeist because of the Dark weakness. So perhaps it could be a decent option. We've found Grimmsnarl, we've got a bunch of stuff in our hand. Again, Hydreigon and Rare Candy, but no Supporter and no Deino. So yes, it is Mad Party again from Matt here. So we are going to be able to take knockouts if we can attack with Bite, but at the moment we don't have any energy, which is a little bit of a concern. But the best thing here is that Matt has elected to go first, which means that he will be able to set up his board relatively quickly, and he'll probably be able to deal a large amount of damage on turn 2 when he starts attacking. We just need to make sure that we've got ourselves set up as well. Also, that Assault Gate Hoopa being in the deck is going to come in handy now, because we'll be able to see that Hoopa move into the active and take some knockouts on some other Pokemon. There's an energy attachment to a Bunnelby and a Dedenne. So that will get rid of... Oh, that was 2 boss's orders, I believe, going into the bin there. So very awkward start for Matt. Manages to find another Bunnelby. And you'd think that we're probably going to see a retreat into something like Dedenne here to try and stop this Bunnelby from getting knocked out. The last thing that Matt wants is an easy knockout for me. Grabbing a Dedenne off of Great Ball here, going in again with the Great Ball, so there's going to be access to more cards next turn. That is obvious, but it's just a matter of whether or not Matt has the switch to get this attack off. We obviously could just boss that Bunnelby out again if we find an energy, but I would much rather find another supporter. We actually do find the energy here, which is pretty solid, so what I might do is I might just throw down all these Pokemon and then gust up the Bunnelby. We'll take a prize, and hopefully we can find a draw supporter off of the prizes. Unfortunately, didn't manage to find a Deino, but that's another rare candy. That's going to be real disappointing when we find a research later. We're going to have to burn away 2 of our 4 rare candies. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not we can actually pull off anything if we don't draw out of this particular hand, because Mad Party can very easily get 11 Pokemon in the discard pile, and every knockout that I take, I'm actually helping that Mad Party deck get closer to a knockout on my Grimmsnarl. So if I don't draw out of this, I could very easily find myself falling behind. I feel like as long as we keep getting energy, though, we should be okay, because Bite is actually the perfect attack for this matchup. I actually didn't think about it going in, but yeah, Poltergeist does have that dark weakness. So all of Matt's attackers are going to be covered by that weakness. It's going to be pretty easy for me to attack as long as I have the energy for it. See a Sinistea come down. Obviously the Poltergeist on the bench hasn't used T-Break yet, I don't think. There's an energy onto a Bunnelby. A second Bunnelby coming down. Maybe has used it already, perhaps. There's a Mad Party going to do 100 damage. Not bad to start off with. Hey, another energy. This is okay. We'll just take a bite here, take another prize. We're 2 prizes in front, but you would think that would very easily see Matt taking the knockout this turn. But I have managed to finally get a supporter. Erika's hospitality off of the prizes is really strong. As long as I can use 1 or 2 of my cards in hand, I should be able to start attacking with my second Grimmsnarl next turn, whilst also getting some extra draw with Erika's hospitality. As long as there's 4 cards in my hand, I'll be able to draw cards equal to the amount of Pokemon that Matt has in play. At the moment, that's 5, but you would think he'd probably put down a 4th. We'll have to wait and see, though. Here comes Roxy, so discarding at least 1 Pokemon here. There's 2. One of them was Marshadow, so that's not going to add to the Mad Party damage, but the T-Break ability will. That's then going into the bin, adding another 20 damage. And at this point, as long as Matt finds an energy, the Grimmsnarl will be knocked out this turn. Interestingly, though, he has promoted the Bunnelby, which means that he's searching for Twin Energy only. The Triple Excel obviously only working on Poltergeist, so that could be a little bit awkward here. Perhaps a potential misplay. We will see. Sorry, I'm very tired. I was up very late last night casting the POG Championships. If you haven't checked that one out, then jump across to twitch.tv/POG_championships, where you can watch day 1. It's up there as this video is recorded, and also it's I think if you're watching this video the second that it comes out, it is live right now, day 2. I might even still be casting it, actually. I'll be in 2 places at once. How weird is that? I think I just saw Matt Crobat for 1. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the second video in a row that he's done that. And I think it's in exactly the same situation again. Looking for energy for a Mad Party and no energy. That is really, really bad. I'm going to retreat here. I'm going to leave this Grimmsnarl in the active. I don't want to make it too easy for Matt to get a simple knockout, just so I can then switch to draw some more cards. Here is a VMAX if I want to use it. I think, though, what I will do is I will discard a Dark Energy, find a Deino, play that down, and then attach a Darkness Energy to the benched Grimmsnarl to prepare myself for the VMAX at some point in the future. As long as we get the Hydreigon into play next turn with the Rare Candy and obviously the Hydreigon in hand, then we should be good to go. We'll bite again here, take another prize, and now we've only got 3 left to take. A research off of the prizes. So there you go, that's why we weren't finding supporters. Most of them in the prizes already. And a Poltergeist coming into the active. An Evolution Incense. We'll probably search for a Mr. Rhyme out of the deck if there is anything left. No, just another Poltergeist with T-Break. So you can trade that one away to potentially get a couple of cards and some more damage. There is the T-Break, and it's going to be throwing that Poltergeist into the discard pile. Matt only actually has 8 cards left in his hand now. In his deck, sorry, now. So that could potentially come back to bite him. Another Evo Essence. Let's just see here. 1, 6, 10. I think there's 11 there. So they're doing 220 damage at the moment. That Oranguru just shuffling some cards around there, putting one card from the hand into the deck. So hopefully there is an energy for Matt here. He promoted the Poltergeist this turn, so you would presume he has at least one. And he's actually going to go for the boss's orders here. And he's going to hit into this Grimmsnarl. That's an interesting play, choosing instead of taking that first knockout on the Grimmsnarl V. He's gone, no, I'm actually just going to take a half hit on Grimmsnarl VMAX. And that now stops me from using a second Grimmsnarl VMAX because I need to stop Matt from taking 6 prizes. Right now, I'm actually in a really good spot to be able to do that. So I'll actually attach this Dark Energy to the Hoopa. Now I have 3 powered attackers that I can use at any point. Now we'll just quick ball this Deino into the hand so we can discard it. I have 3 powered attackers to use at any point. I need to take 3 prizes. And as long as everything goes to plan, I should, theoretically, be able to get myself the victory. I will, of course, need a boss next turn if I want to win next turn, but if it does come down to it, I can simply attack 3 times into whatever Mad Party and Matt brings into the active, and I should be able to win. So we'll see how this goes. Here comes the Bunnelby, so maybe the Twin Energy in hand now. Because obviously wouldn't promote that if he didn't have access to it. Not going to make that same mistake twice, you would think. There is the Twin Energy, so Matt will be taking his first 3 prizes of the game here. But I'm in a position where I potentially could get myself a couple of extra cards with a Pokemon Communication to try and find boss's orders to win with a VMAX on a Dedenne or a Crobat this turn. Now we've got double Pokemon Communications here. This is an interesting choice. Now, I need to use this Crobat, I think, to draw as many cards as possible, because I don't want to use Professor's Research. So, what I'll do is I'll use the Pokecom to grab Deino, just to thin the com out of my hand, and then, again, chuck that Deino back into the deck. And I might grab the Dedenne just in case, because this way I've got access to some extra cards. I'll play down Darkrai. I think I'm going to use Dark Squall to attach a Dark Energy to the Grimmsnarl in the active. I'm going to probably use my Ordinary Rod as well. Whether or not I do both, I think I just grab the Energy, so I don't need any Pokemon as such here. And now I can Crobat and Dedenne this turn to try and find the VMAX and a Energy. So it looks like I've got the Com. I could potentially... Do I Dedenne or do I... I can just take the knockout with Spiky Knuckle. I don't even need to evolve, so that's fine. There's the VMAX, there's the boss, there's the Energy. So that is going to be the game for me. I can use Spiky Knuckle if I want, but since I got the VMAX, I may as well chuck that down into the active. It is, in fact, the card that we are featuring. So G-Max Drill here takes the knockout on the Dedenne, the last 2 prizes, and again, 2 for 2 for the deck of choice. So Grimmsnarl VMAX putting in quite a lot of work there, doing what it was supposed to do relatively consistently. We haven't tested it up against any of the quote-unquote good decks in the format, so it might struggle with things like Eternatus and Center Scorch, but hey, that's okay. Not every deck needs to be tier 1, and this one is solidly in the rogue category. It is a lot of fun at getting a whole bunch of energy into play, and that's what this particular deck allows us to do. Hydreigon as a stage 2 support Pokemon, really, really strong, and Grimmsnarl VMAX as an attack stacker, definitely worth taking a look at. They're cheap as well, a good deck to get you started. Thanks everyone for checking this particular video out. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you want to see that Houndoom deck, then please leave a like on the video so that I can chuck that one up next. If you want to hover over the Sableye button, there's a subscribe button there as well. That would be greatly appreciated. On the left, we've got a couple of videos that YouTube thinks you'll like, and on the right, a playlist of more Darkness Ablaze deck profiles and gameplay. Thank you everyone for jumping in on this one. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time for more from the Sableyes. Bye.